review that list and make sure there's no one else that we should have added to it.
Yeah.
Or have somebody in the office review it.
Usually it's reviewed once a year to take off any people who are no longer should be on there, and to add people who have come into it.
Right.
All right.
So if that hasn't been done, that should be done.
Next item is to announce that there's a workshop with the select board and the school board. This is for January 2nd at 6:30 p.m. at the Lubec Town office. Maureen sent me a note to contact Jim Underwood and ask him for his presence as well. Basically, this is to, just kind of have a sit down, discuss budgetary, any budgetary concerns before the budget process. There's some concern about City of Calais pulling out of the AOS. How does that affect Lubec? What would the pros and cons be if Lubec decided to pull out of the AOS? I mean, there's just a lot of questions, and probably a sit down between the two boards would be the best
It
way
would be
to.
an excellent opportunity for the two boards to start working together on a common problem for our community.
It's a step towards more transparency and better communication.
Yep.
And we also had a meeting today with
Lubec Community Outreach Center.
Lubec Community Outreach
And a
Center
representative from the school as well.
and a representative from the school, Tina Wormel, and we have invited them to join us on January 2nd to discuss some mutual issues between the Lubec Community Outreach, the school, and the town. So I think the more we can have transparency and communication, the more helpful it will be.
It's one of those things that in the past we weren't the strongest at. We decided to work towards fixing.
Right. Next item is a reminder that the first half taxes are due December 31st, 2012. The town office is going to be closed Monday, December 24th, but it's going to be open for regular business all day on December 31st. That would be 10 to 4. The decision to stay open all day on December 31st, New Year's Eve, was so that anybody coming in at the last minute to pay their taxes would be open and available and able to help them.
If there's any issue not being able to make your tax payment, please contact the office ahead of time. We do not want your property.
Traditionally, the office has been closed half a day on New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve, and this year we've changed it up a little bit. It's going to be closed all day on Christmas Eve and open for business on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
Just change some hours around to make it more accessible.
And it just happens to be the taxes, the day taxes are due.
Right.
Very convenient.
Right.
Happy holidays.
Holidays.
Gee, that's true.
Number 12. I was talking to Barb Soletto, and Betty was going through her town reports, and she went all the way back, and she found there was a couple, there was some that were missing over the years.
Two.
No, well,
No,
there
there's
were
actually
others.
four, but
Oh, really?
the Historical Society has two older ones.
Oh, okay.
They have two town reports, one dated 1891 and one dated 1900. Barb Soletto, president of the Historical Society, asked to have a letter signed by the Board of Selectmen, just to give her documentation. She has extras of these 2 years, and she'd like to have a copy of this letter for her file, that it was a written request by the Selectmen for the town.
That they released them.
To release them to us.
Out of curiosity, the other missing ones, or if they ever any chance to find out where they went, or?
What missing ones?
What I
They were just
suspect
into-
happens
Oh,
is
no.
when people come in and want to look at Old Town reports or anything in the office, someone is supposed to sit with them.
Yep.
And this is why, because
Oh.
sometimes documents
miss it.
tend to go home with people.
There's a group, I can't remember how many's in a group, but there was a leak in the basement when it was downtown, and some of them got damaged. And I
Oh.
have a feeling some of that was from that as well.
Oh, okay.
So it may not have walked out, it could have been
It
from
floated
damage.
out, just
Right.
right.
Floated
Yeah.
out.
I'm making a motion that we send the letter of request to the Historical Society so we can complete our records.
Second.
All in favor?
And I'd also like to thank Betty for coming back.
Yes,
And I'd also like to thank Barbara Salido for offering them to us.
yes, well,
Yes.
certainly.
And if
And
anyone,
since then, I've gone through the old town reports, which are very brittle, and have put them in plastic sleeves, so it's saving them a lot better than what they were. They was just in boxes.
this is something that Betty and I had a discussion about, well, years ago actually, but we recently had another discussion about old records that we have that are starting to deteriorate. At some point, we are going to have to budget some money for preservation of documents.
The county just went through a large process.
Right.
Same.
This was done prior, and it only went up to a certain year, but, you know, we have some really, really old, wonderful documents,
Yeah.
and they are starting to deteriorate really badly.
And especially the old town meetings and
Can we get someone to write us a letter to remind us of that?
I was just gonna ask John if we could put it down in the budget,
Exactly.
so
Well,
that during budget
well-
time we can, because we got a bunch of those things that we're trying to remember
Right.
at budget time that are gonna be very important not to forget.
We need to start like a clipboard and hang it somewhere, things to remember for budget
The
cycle.
budget bucket.
Betty can't remember them all for us,
Okay.
it's not good like,
List.
cause I'll forget mine.
I hear you.
If I do write it down, I'm sure I'll lose that by
One of the items too to consider about, we've been having, safety meetings with, on Monday, we have one meeting with the office and then one meeting with Public Works, and that includes Public Works, sewer, and recycling. One item that we don't have is a tripod, so that when they're working down in the manholes, should something happen to one of the employees, the second employee does not have to go down and get him, they can just winch him up.
With a tripod.
Yeah.
Well, it's an extraction tripod.
Right,
Yeah.
it's a safety device,
Had
yes.
one for engines for years and years, just
Well,
Yeah.
we
Similar.
know, we know the rough
Same.
cost of one?
We've got some, estimates, from a vendor, anywhere between 3 and 8,000.
I think we should definitely look
is
into.
it 300 and 8,000 or 3,000?
No,
and
3,000 to 8,000,
I
depending on
know,
the make model.
I know that Ricky could sell us something better than that, quicker, less money.
On somebody's life depends
Yeah,
on. I'm willing to
well,
spend
I felt the
That's
same way, and then I realized that
It has
when
to
you
comply
get
to
into
OSHA
safety,
standards.
right,
Right.
there's standards,
Right.
so not many backyard guys are gonna whip out the thing that is
And
gonna
Even if
pass.
And in the, I've been in,
OSHA was another thing you have to make sure.
Right,
it's
OSHA,
approved by
it's
them.
gotta be approved, it's,
And-
Can we, I don't know, the group of people that are the stakeholders in that, come up with which one best fits their needs? So that way we can seek to get bids on that and look for their budgets, maybe we can split the cost between
Yeah.
all the budgets. I
Yeah.
mean, all of their,
right,
so that way one person isn't hit the hardest.
right, they're sharing the cost on that. It's just gonna sit there for, God forbid, that when you have to use it.
Well, no, every time you go in a hole, it'll be there connected to you.
right,
That's not what they're doing now.
No, because we don't have it.
because they don't have it.
Yeah, but they're using a safety line.
Right, but this,
Right.
the whole point of this is it's a winch safety
Safety
line.
line.
I'm well aware of what it is.
Right.
What I was gonna say was, is there reconditioned ones?
You know, even, I
That's
don't know,
something you could look on the state site. Do you,
I mean, obviously, there's a good one and a bad one,
there's
because the
a
price
state
range from
surplus
3 to
site for
8,000.
municipalities.
Even in the medical profession?
You can look it up on
I'll
the
tell you, you can get
You have to wear
state
safety
website.
Yep.
600 pounds.
And there's a lot of items that are available only to municipalities.
Right.
Okay,
So that would be a good way to pursue
I'll check it out.
less expensive one.
I'm
We
not
bought-
about safety.
we bought
It's gonna
equipment.
spend more than
Yeah.
we know it. First time somebody doesn't come up out of a hole, that $300 savings isn't really worth it.
Well, that's the thing, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, there was an accident, where was it, Old Orchard Beach, and there was 2
Right.
people in a manhole, and unfortunately, they were both lost.
Right.
And so that was because of gas.
Well, that's, for whatever reason, if something happens,
When
the
it goes
second
down,
person
get out.
doesn't have to go down and get them, they
Right.
can just